Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about free will and whether we as humans possess it or not. First of all, we'll cover some of the main strains of thought in philosophy currently regarding free will. So, the first one is libertarianism or libertarian free will. Libertarianism is the idea that humans are 100% free without any constraints to choose their actions and behaviors. So, on the face of it, this idea is just absurd, considering that, obviously, our genetics, our upbringing, the experiences we've had in life, the people around us, etc., our natural personality, all those kinds of things, they obviously have a big, they obviously constrain our actions majorly. So, take two siblings, for example, they have a very similar upbringing, I guess, if they're raised in a loving household, but siblings can turn out extremely differently based on genetics. Um, I'm pretty different from all of my siblings, and we had a similar upbringing, and so that's just one example. But also, even if you say, oh, your genetics aren't constraining you, then obviously the experiences that happen to you in life, if one of your friends dies in a car crash when you're young, you obviously had no control over that, and that is going to affect how you proceed in life, especially if you were very close to that friend. Also, just a very kind of obvious example of the constraints is the fact that, right now I can't just sprout wings and fly off into the sky. My biology as a human being is constraining me in a major way. So we can rule libertarian free will out, at least as far as I understand it. The next one is compatibilism. So this is a bit more sophisticated, and arguments can be made for compatibilism. So this is the idea that while everything is determined in the universe, that is actually compatible with free will. Now, I don't subscribe to compatibilism simply because I think it's a redefinition of the notion of free will. So, what people tend to think of when they think of free will, at least most people, laymen that don't really think about this topic in much depth, they have the notion of libertarian free will, the idea that they are the pure and sole determinant of their own behaviors. But compatibilism states that free will is compatible with determinism. So determinism is the idea that everything in the universe is determined by a prior cause. So if you rewind the clock to the Big Bang, then everything that is happening now had to have happened in the way that it's happening. It was inevitable because of the conditions of the start of the universe. It's like a chain of dominoes. One hits the next and hits the next and hits the next, and it's a runaway thing. So all of our behaviors, thoughts, etc. are determined by the laws of the universe and that domino effect. But then they say that while that is true, we still have free will because we, as in agents, have the ability to do what we want to do unless we're constrained by external factors. So I just think this is a redefinition of the idea of free will. I think that compatibilism is false, but is closer to the truth than libertarian free will. And then there's the notion of no free will whatsoever, which I tend to subscribe to, but I think I'll go into more detail about that, because don't get the wrong idea and think that having no free will means you're just a puppet and you have to be nihilistic and everything is completely out of control and it's horrible and those kinds of thoughts, because having no ultimate free will is actually a liberating experience, and I'll explain more in a upcoming video. Thank you for watching.